Boys and girls, today I'm going to read to you one of my favorite stories by one of our favorite authors, Kevin Hankey's. And this story is called Lily's Big Day. One day, Lily's teacher, Mr. Slinger, announced to the class that he was going to marry Miss Shotwell, the school nurse. Lily's heart leaped. She had always wanted to be a flower girl. So, boys and girls, this story is fiction. What does fiction mean? Phoenix?
Not real life.
Fiction means not real life. It's just pretend. I know that you knew that this story was fiction because could there really be a mouse that was dressed up the way Lily's dressed up?
No.
Do mice really get married?
No.
But there are also some books that authors write about real things that give us information. And those kinds of stories are called nonfiction. And I have a story right here called Mice. Now, if you look at the two cover pages, the author gives us a really big clue that these are going to be different stories. One's going to be real, and one's not going to be real. Put your hand up if you can tell me what's the clue. Ben.
One's a photograph and someone drew the other one.
Okay, so one's a photograph and someone drew the other one. A photograph on the cover page is a hint that this story is going to be about real mice. When I open up the two books, there's also something different. What is different about the beginning pages of these two stories? Ty.
One's contents and one's not.
So which one has the contents?
That one.
This one has a contents. This one just starts the story right away. And a contents tells us the names of the different chapters, sort of, that's going to be in this book. So it tells us what it's going to be all about. We call them subtitles. And the contents also has page numbers. If I keep turning the pages of my nonfiction book, well, I notice the subtitle right here, and there's something I notice right here. Angeli, what's that called?
There's diagrams.
This is a diagram. It's a drawing that has labels. It's teaching us all about a mouse. Boys and girls, yesterday we talked about some differences between nonfiction stories and fictional stories. Today you are going to have 3 minutes to look through your nonfiction book, and after 3 minutes you're going to put your hand up and let me know if you noticed any of those features of nonfiction text. Okay, so open up your books.
The sun is the best singing star.
3, 2, and 1. Can you raise your hand if you noticed one of the special features in nonfiction text that your book has? Angeli.
My book has a glossary.
Your book has a glossary. So Angeli has a glossary. It was near the end of her book. Ryan, what did you notice in your nonfiction book?
I noticed a contents.
You have a contents in your nonfiction book. And I'm going to put that right up by the front or the top of the list because that's right on the first page. And the contents, like we talked about, has two things. The contents tells us the subtitles, page numbers. Can everybody open their books and look to see if you have a contents near the very front and put your finger on your nose if you have a contents. Excellent. So a lot of nonfiction books have contents. Not all of them, but many of them. What else does your nonfiction book have? Harrison.
The index.
It has an index.
That was my
An index is something else that's special in nonfiction. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. That's usually at the back of the book, and we know it's the index because the subtitle is indexed. Andre, what does yours have?
Photograph.
It has a photograph. And I'm going to put that right on the very top because a lot of the times photographs are on the cover page too. Can everybody look through your book and look to see if you have any diagrams? Hold it up if you have a diagram. I see lots of diagrams. Excellent. And I'm going to add diagram here. The diagram is a picture with labels. Now, I want you to look closely through your book and see if you have any print that's a little bit darker. What's that called?
Bold print.
It's called bold print when it's really dark. Angeli told us that in her nonfiction text, she had a glossary. Ben, what's a glossary?
If there's something in bold print and tells us what it means.
So if you find a word that's in bold print in your story, you're going to see it again in the glossary, and it's going to tell us what that word means. So you have all been great detectives. You've discovered and learned that nonfiction text have cover pages,
And
photographs, contents that tells us the subtitles and page numbers. There's diagrams, which are pictures with labels. We have bold print words. And how can we explain what's a bold print word? What if someone doesn't know? Brian?
it's a word that is very important.
So it's a very important word. So I might show bold print by making this one.
That's what I told you.
That was a good idea, Spencer, to make it look just like it's bold print. And then a glossary has all those bold print words, and it tells us what they mean, and the last one was an index. Boys and girls, we've been talking a lot about the features of nonfiction text, and we made a list of some of those features right behind me. Today, Miss Reeves needs our help in the library. She gave me all of these books, and she wants to sort them into two piles, either a fiction pile or a nonfiction pile. So you're going to know if your book is a nonfiction if you check with these features. So I'm going to give you all one moment to look through your story, make a choice if you think it's fiction or nonfiction. And then I'm going to choose you to explain which pile you're going to put it in. Tiffany, what book do you have?
Fiction.
Why do you think this story is a fiction story?
Because there's no photograph.
There's no photographs. That's one way of knowing. So Tiffany, can you put it in our fiction pile? Zaina, what book do you have?
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Tyrannosaurus Rex. And what do you think that is, fiction or nonfiction?
Nonfiction.
Why do you think it's nonfiction?
Because
What are these?
bold print.
Bold print. So for sure, I agree. That's nonfiction. Timothy, what story do you have? Why do you think yours is nonfiction? Photographs? Contents? Subtitles? Excellent. So you've been checking with our list. Can you come and put it in this pile right here, please?